Good morning and welcome to the podcast Teach Me Bees.
Teach Me Bees.
I'm Dave Wescott. This is
Scott Calentine.
And we are here to talk about bees. You know, today I thought that one of the things that we might talk about is some of the benefits of bees.
Okay.
And some of the benefits of honey. We recently just made some of our own honey.
We did.
And so talk to us a little bit about how we did that. How did we extract the honey as we kind of get into this process?
Yeah, so as I kind of started back in September, which right now is October, we had a few hives that had been going on through the summer on the property here. And the August to September window is typically a good honey extraction time. That's the bees have had time to pollinate and to gather the resources and such and build up the supply of honey. And so one of the first things we did and we wanted to do was to give away just a little bit of honey to for a give back day that we had going on here. And so the process of that, which actually Ralph filmed, and we're gonna show some of that later on. Yeah. Is you suit up, you get ready, because the bees are a little bit more aggressive in August and September. That's kind of just their temperament for whatever reason. I don't fully understand, but they get more aggressive. You take off the lid and everything, and then you pull out the frame and you inspect it. And what you're looking for, obviously, is honey. But the two main things that'll be on a frame is brood or honey. Okay. And so you need to be able to tell the difference to make sure you're not pulling brood. Brood is baby bees. Okay. So that's the queen that's laid the eggs, and typically it's capped. At least when you pull it out, you may not realize it's uncapped or capped brood. So capped brood is a little bit darker than honey. It's a little more brownish, where honey is more yellowish, and sometimes the comb is turned white around it. And so you're looking for honey because you don't want to pull out baby bees and kill them because they need to be fed still, right? They're still depending on the hive to feed them. And so you pull it out, you inspect both sides of the frame. We have a frame up here. And so you can just turn it, look both ways. It's going to have bees on it. And if it's full, being the frame is 90% full on both sides, then you could take it. The thing is, you don't want to take too much because that's like their winter food supply. Right. So you need to check multiple frames. Okay, how's this hive doing? But for us, we decided to take 2 frames out of 2 hives. We have 3. We left 1 alone. We felt like it was. Yeah. They didn't have the honey to spare, kind of thing, and so we didn't take out of that. So you take those, we put them in a box, removed all the bees from them, just wiped them off. And then took them into our shop. And that's where you actually begin the extraction process. Okay.
So we're extracting.
So you cut the comb. If you hold the frame up, you would cut the comb. You can use a serrated knife. We used a heated knife. Like we plugged it in and it warmed it. It was warm. And so it cut really clean down. So you cut the caps of the comb off. And then honey will begin to drip. And the one thing I learned, I'm
getting hungry.
At least one thing I learned was that this is a very sticky process. And so when we do this large scale, I'm going to need to have like designated honey extraction boots and clothes and like just things that are good to get dirty and sticky, and we're going to stick them in.
It's almost like you need a rain suit.
Something like that.
Something that's easy to wash off.
Yeah, it's just going to be sticky and gross. And so, but for us, for our first time, we cut the comb. We then, on both sides, and then we put it into a honey extractor. So it's like this round cylinder container that's got some legs that elevates it off the ground. And it was a small one. It only had room for 2 frames. You drop them in there, and then you close the lid, and then you hand crank it I just kind of did until my arm was tired, and then I would open the lid and then pull the frames out and turn them around because it's the outside of the frame that is getting released, and so you have to turn it around, and then I cranked that thing again, and I just went back and forth until I could pull out the frame and look and see, okay, there's no more honey in this. And you'll notice when you start the whole process, you pull the frame out of the beehive, it's kind of heavy. But when you have the frame in the extractor and you pull it out, you've noticed the weight's very different because the honey's, most of it at least, has been taken out of the frame. So you can kind of tell by weight as well, okay, have we gotten the honey out of this or not?
Wow.
So that was our process. Unfortunately for us, our extractor, the handle kept coming loose, and so I had to like finagle it and re-get it. I ended up cutting my hand a little bit because I was trying to like push that thing real hard.
So it was a process.
It was a bit of a process, and I didn't really know how long it would take, and it took longer than I thought it would take for sure. And the other thing I learned is that heat matters, because so after the frames are in the extractor and we've cranked them, and then we put the other frames in there and do the same thing. The honey itself, there's a little spout at the bottom, I would say, that you open up and the honey drips through. So we placed a bucket with a sifter, a drainer on top of the bucket so that the honey would drain from the extractor into the bucket and would be sifted out, so that like if there was comb that was in there, it wouldn't get into the honey. If there was a dead bee for whatever reason, or other things from nature that could potentially have just been on the frame, that it wouldn't get into the honey, because you don't really want to eat that. And then we also, with the comb that we had cut off, we also let that sift through another bucket and just let the honey sift through. We actually let that one go overnight.
Wow, what a process.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a process.
Just to get 25 jars of honey.
Just small, I think 4-ounce jars. Yeah, it was a little bit of a process. But the honey was so stinking good.
It was good.
I really liked the honey.
It was good. We got a lot of compliments on the honey.
Yeah, it was
People
a lighter,
loved our
sweeter.
Honey. People were saying they wanted to sign up for our honey distribution list. So that was really excited. I got a question. I don't know the answer to this, but do people eat baby bees? Like people eat caviar?
Not that I've heard of. I don't
bee
think
brood
so.
something that people eat?
I don't think so.
Is
if
this
you
a
do, I
delicacy?
would say that's kind of messed up. I would find it gross.
Well,
You also are going to eat the venom, which I've heard maybe historically has had some healing properties. Like if you ingest a small amount of the venom, like some kind of, there's like health properties that I don't pretend to be a doctor or understand how that works.
I would ingest snake venom.
Have you ever done that?
No, but I would.
Wait, any snake in particular?
The king cobra, the rattlesnake, the viper. I'd actually ingest all 3 types of snake venom.
At once?
And that way, if someone ticked me off, I'd just bite them. I just put them down.
That could be an effective.
Like you get upset with me, I just grab your arm and adios, amigo. And then they'd be like, "Hey," they'd have me on forensic files, and they'd be trying to figure it out, and they'd be like, "The problem is guy was bit by a snake,
and he had snake powers, I guess."
No, I just ingested it and I got the venom and I became a snake human. And that way if somebody upset me, I would just bite them.
This is a Netflix documentary waiting to happen. If this was possible.
Well,
I don't think it's possible.
You mentioned venom.
Yeah.
Bee venom. I've never even heard of bee venom.
Well, okay, so when they sting you, and then like your thumb swells up or your arm or whatever, and it gets kind of numb, that's because venom is released from the stinger. That's why it hurts. It's not because they're poking you. I'm sure that's annoying, but it's the venom that causes the numbing.
The venom is what causes. Yeah. Are certain types of bees more venomous than others?
I don't know the answer to that question.
I wonder, like,
possibly.
Is the drone more venomous than the...
Probably not. Drones are pretty lazy, from what I've gathered.
They're pretty lazy.
Yeah, they mate and they eat, and that's kind of it. Like
that's like my life dream: mate and eat.
And that's it. It's life taken care of.
If I could
but
just
then you
mate
get kicked
and
out
eat,
and die. So
that's okay too.
There's an expiration date.
I've mated. I've eaten. Depending on what I've eaten, I'm good with that being my last meal. We'll call it like death row for bees.
What would be your last meal? Like if you could pick a last meal to have.
That's a tough question.
Pick a genre. Maybe not a restaurant. Pick what would be the food you would go to?
That's a tough question. If it was going to be my last meal on Earth, do I get an appetizer with that last meal?
Sure. It's your last meal. Go for it.
Do I get a dessert with that last meal?
I feel like you're asking for a lot here, but
is this a 4-course meal?
It's whatever meal you want it to be. It's your last one.
This is a good question. So I'd like to start off the table with a loaf of hot sourdough bread.
Okay.
And I would like an entire stick of butter put on the table for this.
For the bread, or
for
are you
the
just
bread.
gonna? Okay.
No, I'm not going to eat raw butter. I'm not a freak. I'm not going to go raw butter on this. But, have you ever been to a nice restaurant and they bring over like a whole basket of bread and then they bring over like 2 cubes of butter?
Uh-huh.
And it's like you're looking at the guy across the table from you and you're about ready to stab him or bite him if you have snake venom in your teeth.
Yeah.
Because it's like, dude, there's only 2 cubes of butter. And he's eyeing the butter and he wants to get his little piece of bread all lathered up, and you want to get your lathered up.
See,
and
my
there's not enough.
problem with that is the butter's often too hard. It's like not soft enough to spread well on the bread, and then in turn,
So we need to heat it up, just like we need to heat up our honey.
Olive Garden or Red Rock, wherever. Listen up, heat up your butter a little bit, okay? Don't pull it out of the freezer. It's not helpful.
Heat up the butter. Okay. So now we've got bread and butter.
So you got bread and butter for an app.
That's not the nap. That's just like the teaser for the table.
That's a pre-app.
Yeah, this is when you have kids. I want to teach you this very valuable lesson.
Okay.
When you have kids and they start to order their own meals, what you don't want to do is go to the restaurant and have them load up on the free bread and then order a $15 meal and say they're not hungry. Ralph, can you feel me on this?
Oh my goodness, I can totally feel you on that.
You've got a few kids.
I have a few kids, yes, sir.
Ralph has 8 kids.
No, 4.
4 kids.
It feels like 8 sometimes.
And I have none, to be clear.
I was just teasing. I knew Ralph didn't have 8 kids.
That show 8 is enough. Yeah, I can imagine.
So it's funny because there's a lesson for you in life to share with your wife. Do not let the kids eat the bread, or if they eat the bread, don't let them order a meal. When the waiter comes over, all you simply say is they're going to share and eat a little bit off of our plate. And the waiter says, okay. This is a good life lesson for those who don't want to spend.
Save that bacon.
That's a tip. That's a tip to put up there. Okay. So now I've had my bread. This is totally off the B topic, but it's okay. We're wandering. So now I've had my bread, and I think that my next course, I would like to have lobster bisque. And I would like to have a lobster bisque, but I want to save one of my rolls, and I want to heavily douse it in butter, and then I want to dip my roll into my lobster bisque, and I want to be able to enjoy that.
Okay.
For the next piece for my meal, I would like to have a wedge salad with blue cheese and no tomatoes. I would like this prepared with thick bacon, not cheap bacon bought from a cheap bacon outlet. I hate cheap bacon. Then when it comes to the appetizers, I would like to have crab cakes, pot stickers, and a meatball.
One meatball.
One meatball.
Okay.
Have you ever seen
With
the large
sauce
meatballs?
or no sauce?
Absolutely the sauce.
Okay.
Absolutely the sauce. Have you ever seen the large meatballs? Oh man, they're fire.
Okay.
Next on my thing, I think I'm going to go with a pizza for dinner.
What kind of pizza?
I want my pizza prepared from either Gino's in Monroe or what is the name of the place in Linwood that has like the best pizza in the world? There's another place and I'm forgetting the name of it. Spiro's. No, not Spiro's. F my life is all I'm going to say. There's another pizza place off of 176th that has like some of the best pizza in the entire world. And
I don't know what you're talking about. But I'll trust you. It's good. It's probably good. If you're in Linwood, go get it.
It's in Linwood, and I want it to be pepperoni, sausage, pineapple, and jalapeno. That'll be my dinner. And then for dessert, I will have a beautiful piece of key lime pie.
Okay.
And if I was a drone bee and I had just mated like crazy and made like 2,000 baby bees, I would then eat this meal. You could then
That'd be
send
the
me
last
out.
one, and then
you could send me
kicked
out in
out,
the
huh?
cold, and that would be it. I'm good
to die after
at
that.
that particular point.
All right.
And you know what? I'm going to Google pizza in Linwood, and I'm going to find the best pizza place in the world real fast, because this is really important. So what do you guys think? What's your last meal if you are a drone bee?
If you're a
And
drone
you just
bee,
mated like crazy, you're super exhausted, you're out of fluids, and you are just like
Yeah.
ready to eat your last
Pause.
meal and die.
think about that,
What is
and
your
then
last
respond to us. Let us know.
meal? No, what is your last meal?
What would I, man? My
Sparta's Pizza. I'm sorry. Sparta's Pizza is the best. Sparta's Pizza or Gino's Pizza in Monroe. Gino's Pizza in Monroe or Sparta's Pizza in Linwood.
Okay.
That's the
Those
best
are the
pizza in
go-to.
the world, in my particular opinion.
Okay. Are you more of a thin crust or a thick crust kind of guy?
I like a thick pizza with a ton of cheese melted on top of it.
Okay. All right.
And if I was in Chicago, I would go with
Some deep dish.
like Giordano's pizza. I love Giordano's pizza. That's one of my favorite pizzas in the whole world. Or if I was in Seattle, I would go with Delfinio's pizza, because that's a Chicago style pizza that's actually off the hook. It's in the U district.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but
Okay.
anyways, you're a drone bee. What is your last meal?
Man, I have 3 food items, potentially food groups, that are like tied for just, they make my soul happy.
Okay.
A fried chicken sandwich.
Fried
I
chicken
love me a
sandwich.
fried chicken sandwich.
Fried chicken sandwich. All right.
Pizza, preferably either a barbecue chicken or pepperoni.
Okay.
And Mexican food, that is a lot. Probably more of like a burrito or taco than an enchilada, but enchiladas, fajitas, those things are very good as well. Nachos, American Mexican, it's pretty good. So if I was given any 3, actually, if it's my last meal, all 3, a fried chicken sandwich, a pizza to myself, make it like a barbecue chicken with jalapenos and half pepperoni, and then also some tacos, some street tacos. Now, if you're in Everett, North Everett, Taco Book has got the best street tacos. If you
Taco
want,
Book, is this out of a truck?
it's not out of a truck. It's a little mom and pop shop next to a
Good.
laundromat.
Because I don't like eating out of a truck.
Food trucks are great, but you want to sit down, you want to get your red sauce, green sauce, put them on there. Oh, their carne asada is so good.
Taco Book, I'm going to check this out.
Yeah, they don't sponsor us, but they could. And if you want more of a sit-down Mexican place, Tampico in Everett, I love it. They're free chips.
Do you know how
oh my
long
gosh,
do you
they're
know
so
how
good.
do you know how long Tampico has been around?
No, but hopefully a long time.
When I
and
was
it
a little
continue to
boy.
be around.
When I was a little boy, when I was 8 years old, 7 years old, my dad used to take me there with his friend Marvin, and we would go eat at Tampico, and we would have Mexican. And you know what we get? We'd get 3 soft chicken tacos with rice and beans. That's the meal that we used to get when I was a little boy. So now I'm going to tell you that this place has been there, that I know of,
Like
for at least 36 years.
pretty much in your life, yeah, it's been there.
I'm just going to put it out there, at least 36 years.
Okay.
So there you go.
They're pretty great.
So that's good. I haven't heard of Tampico in a long time, but that's good. I'm glad that we're keeping that place alive. And so Ralph, what is your final meal? Because you've had a long time to think about this.
I did.
You've been parlaying on this.
Yeah, so I'm much like you, Dave. I like the courses. The
I love
warm
that.
bread at a table.
I love you for
Okay.
loving the courses.
Oh yeah,
I respect
it's
that.
all about the courses. Not to steal yours, but yeah, warm bread at the table, always.
You can
Always.
steal anything that I brought to the table.
Okay, good. You brought up the lobster bisque, and you and I had, for me personally, was some of the best lobster bisque I've ever had in Florida.
That was good lobster
That
bisque.
was really
I
good
love lobster bisque.
Oh, that was.
There's something about warm lobster bisque and butter and bread all in the same thing that's like,
It just hits.
bing.
Yeah. It makes your eyes close and you kind of just go to this zen place.
Your
for a
soul is
minute.
made happy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
If this
good.
was a different type of podcast, I'd have a different word for it.
Yes, it would.
We're not that kind of podcast,
expletive.
though.
It would have an expletive.
We are a
It's
B podcast
very
that talks
good.
about other things.
Yes. So I would say I love steaks, Dave.
Ooh, it's a nice steak. Okay.
I love steaks too.
Prime rib.
Good prime rib. Okay, we got we got prime rib. You got lobster bisque. You got bread. You got
prime rib.
steaks. Prime rib.
Baked sweet potato.
Baked sweet potato. I
Fully
love a
loaded.
baked sweet potato. Fully loaded.
Butter,
Yeah. Have you ever had a
sugar.
twice baked sweet potato?
Yes, I have.
My wife makes an amazing twice baked sweet potato.
Wow.
Sweet potatoes are actually really healthy for you.
They are. And then
Yeah.
you put a bunch of butter and, brown sugar and...
All that good stuff.
Cinnamon
Honey.
on
What about honey? We need. Can we put
Oh,
honey?
yeah, you can put honey
Drizzle
on top
some
of it.
honey on
Yeah,
there.
drizzle some honey on top of it. And then for dessert, a warm brownie.
Warm
with
brownie.
A scoop of vanilla ice cream, a little bit of hot fudge, and some
Man,
toasted pecans.
I didn't even think
That's
about
pre- that's
dessert. I
pretty good.
skipped dessert, which was a mistake.
You did skip dessert, but you actually ate tacos, a pizza, and a fried chicken sandwich.
This is true.
So I don't know that you had any room for any of the extra. You had.
I mean,
three
you had
main-
like 4 appetizers there before you got to
Ain't
your
nothing
pizza.
wrong with that.
I'm gonna tell you a story about life. Okay.
Okay.
This is something also to put in your books as you go along the path and the journey. Now, sometimes in life, you're going to come across an opportunity to eat at a restaurant that may be a once in a lifetime experience. Like, for example, I ate at the Rainbow Room in New York, and it's like $1,600 per person to eat
Wow.
at the Rainbow Room at the time that I went for dinner and dancing. It was something like that. That's a once in a lifetime meal. Now, I have also eaten at some of the finest Italian restaurants in the world. And I can tell you that when you go to some of these restaurants, they don't even speak English. And so, because like you may not be in that city, or you may not have that reservation again, or, it might be very hard to get in there, or it might be, hundreds to thousands of dollars even for the meal. So, when I say that there's a lot of things that crossed my palate in that particular scenario, I can tell you that I went to this, very famous, very incredible, amazing Italian restaurant. I cannot pronounce the name of it, but when Amy and I went there, we ordered every single entree on the meal, on the menu, every single one. They said, "You guys are crazy." We ordered like 12 entrees.
Wow.
Now, did we eat 12 entrees?
There's no way.
No. But you know what we did is we took like 3 or 4 bites of every entree. And I'm going to tell you what, it was absolutely impeccable. People looked at us like we were crazy. Like, what are you people doing? But you know what? We had an absolutely incredible, once in a lifetime, amazing memory. And if you go back to that restaurant again, it'll never be the same, because
That's
at
true.
that moment, we did something that nobody does. We did something special, and we tasted all of these absolutely incredible meals. And so, like when we're talking about eating food, and, sometimes you look at a menu and there's things that you want to try. And I say go for it, because some of those things can really be, life-changing. Like, God blessed us with the ability to eat food and love food, and, not to be a glutton or anything like that. But, like, it's a good thing. In fact, sometimes I'll fly into a city and there will be 2 restaurants that I want to eat at. So I will literally make a 5 o'clock dinner reservation, and then I will make an 8 o'clock dinner reservation. And I will literally restaurant hop, and I will go from one restaurant to the next, and I won't eat all the food at either of them, but I will go in there and I will have 2 exquisite meals, because I might know that these are 2 of the greatest restaurants in the world in this city that I may never have an opportunity to go back to just because of logistics, travel, time.
Yeah, for sure.
All of those things. So, that's kind of how I look at it. Now, this is not a foodie channel thing we're on here. So we're talking about bees, but let me tell you about eating honey, because we're talking about a lot of food.
Yeah, it's important.
Eating honey is one of the best things that you can actually do for your body.
Why is that?
Because it has calming agents in it. It actually is loaded with serotonin and melatonin. And so it's really, really an amazing thing. It also carries anti-inflammatory properties. It's been used to treat burns. And ancient Egyptians used honey as a natural antibiotic and skin protectant. So while honey is delicious, because I love honey on everything, I love honey on toast, I actually eat honey raw. So like when I get up in the morning, I like to take a big scoop of honey, and I like to just digest that. And that's why I'm so strong and so healthy and so beautiful, and women love me all around the world, and I'm filled with charm, personality, and class. It's because I eat honey.
It's because of the honey.
It's all because
a spoonful of honey every day.
It's all because of the honey.
And you're humble.
I am humble. Like, you know, like I'm one of the most humble people you'll ever meet in your entire life. I'm also a giver, which is part of what Honey for Hope is all about.
Yeah, giving kind of the whole purpose.
Giving profit back to charity. So just some cool little facts about bees. Do you know there's 20,000 different types of bees in the world?
Can you name them all?
No.
Okay.
But that's funny because when I was in high school, they had to do things like, and my kids are going through this right now, like name all the states. So on the humble note, I was a super intelligent student. I graduated high school with a 3.8 grade point average.
Nice.
I didn't read one book except I skimmed Animal Farm, and I never did homework.
You just knew everything.
Yeah, it's true. It's actually true. So, but I also like stayed away from things that I didn't like. Like wood shop is one of the easiest classes in the world. Like you think like, oh man, all of the jocks take wood shop because they're, you know, not as intelligent. Not a diss on jocks because I'm also a jock. I'm a sports guy. I love sports. I played hockey growing up. But when I was in high school, they had this thing where it was like, if you wanted to be in wood shop, you had to take 100-question test and you had to pass it with 100% accuracy.
And you did not want any part of that?
I dropped that class immediately. I immediately dropped that class. There's no way I'm going to try to memorize 100 things. And then I was in this class where it was like, memorize all of the countries in Europe or something, you know? And I'm like, okay, listen, this is stupid. How am I ever going to use this in my real life? So when you just asked me if I could name all 20,000 types of bees in the world,
back up, huh?
You brought that back, and I was like, this is ridiculous. And I actually thought about my kids, and I thought, you know, they're learning the states of the United States of America, and I'm glad that they're doing that.
Yeah.
Also, pointless in my perfectly humble opinion. So no, I don't know all 20,000 types of bees in the world,
but there are that many. And
there are that many.
Lot.
And there's 4,000 types of bees in the United States.
4,000.
And I do know every single type of those.
Okay.
I've memorized all 4,000 just because I never know when I'm going to come across a bee that I might like or one that I might want to kill.
That's right.
Therefore, on our next podcast, I will be naming off all 4,000 types of bees.
It'll be a 4-hour episode.
It'll be a 4 episode, so you'll be bored. We're going to call it nap time. We're not going to call the next episode Teach Me Bees. We're going to call it Take a Nap. And what we're going to do is we're going to get some cornbread.
With honey on it?
We're going to get a whole lot of butter. And then we're going to cover it in honey. You're going to eat that.
Cornbread with honey on it is so good. So good. If you've never done that out there,
you're missing out.
It's so good.
It's the only way to do it.
It's the only way to do it.
I'm a chili and cornbread kind of fan. You know, like, and my buddy Luis showed me, I don't know if he called it the New York way or whatever. He's from New York, where a lot of, like, out here we get our chili and then our side of cornbread. No, you put the cornbread in the bowl first, and then you put your chili on top of it. So if you do it with honey on there, oh my gosh, it takes it up the next level. Chili. Just saying, there's been a lot of food conversation in this episode.
So
honey's incredible though.
I am a connoisseur of chili, and I have eaten chili all over the world. And I'm going to tell you that the best chili I've ever had in my entire life is at the Stockyards Steakhouse in Phoenix, Arizona. There is not a better chili on the
Shout out
planet.
Phoenix.
I don't care if you've been to chili contests. I've done chili contests, chili cook-offs. There's never in my life have I eaten a better bowl of chili. In fact, I would fly just to Phoenix to eat chili at the Stockyards. Second best chili I've ever eaten in my entire life is at a little steakhouse right in Grapevine, Texas, which is right outside of Dallas. There's a little strip mall out there, and there's a little steak restaurant right at the end. I can't remember the name of it, but it's right at the end of this little strip mall right down there in Grapevine. And this chili, the chili house, is half owned by Willie Nelson, and it is some of the best chili in the world. And in fact, the chili is so good, I will order a bowl of chili on my way to the airport. And I will down that, and I will down
in the car?
that chili. Yeah, absolutely.
While you're driving?
Well, I'll get a big straw and slurp it down. I don't care.
Wow.
Like, listen, I'm gonna go crazy on this thing. I will get an ice cream. I will get an ice cream straw. Have you seen the ice cream straws that are so thick that you can suck a strawberry through them?
Yeah, those are big.
Yeah, that was again something very scary if we were on a different type of podcast, but. Listen, this is Teach Me Bees, and we're talking about honey. So at the next episode, we're going to name all 4,000 types of bees. So eat your honey, eat your cornbread, and then take a long nap. And then as you sleep, I will
you'll
say
tell
off
us.
the names of all
Serenade
4,000 types of bees. And then your subconscious will just automatically know what type of bee you're looking at.
We do want this to be an educational podcast.
Okay, I totally made that up. I'm not going to read 4,000 types of bees.
Yeah.
You know what's great about all the food that we talked about today?
Yeah.
At all those restaurants, none of it would be possible
without bees.
Without bees.
That's right.
That's true.
None of it.
That's true. I was just looking at statistics, and there's a statistic that I just read that 75% of all food that you eat comes from bees. And I had read another statistic that said 70% of all food came from bees. But the truth is, what they say is about 1 out of every 3 bites that you consume comes from pollinating, comes from bees. And so bees are absolutely incredible. And yes, all of the food that we talked about today, all of the amazing meals, everything that we discussed would not be possible without bees. And as we're talking about food, I just want to mention that last week we talked about a bet, and we talked about
we did
the University of Washington, go Dogs, and we talked about the Oregon Sucks, and the Oregon Ducks, and
this guy,
and so we were talking about this.
You didn't even watch the game. I had to tell you about the game.
You did tell me about the game.
I was at, by the way, and it was an incredible game.
So this is a great lesson in delegation. We had a bet. I had nothing to do with the game. I got a free lunch out of it, and you got to tell me all about it.
That's right. That's right. But we'll get them again.
Yes, we will. So we're gonna have a lunch. We're gonna go out to lunch. The lunch is on.
And we'll probably talk about
my brother Scott. We're going to talk about it. Oregon lost, as you know. Oregon Ducks lost. God, it's so funny that Ducks rhymes with sucks. I mean, does that get chanted when they're losing? No, I'm just kidding.
It's actually convenient.
It's
probably
so
not,
convenient.
We don't lose very often.
The Dogs won. The Dogs are 6-0. So
congratulations.
Congratulations.
The season's 12 games long. We're halfway there.
What a bonus too. We're halfway through. I'm really hoping that my boy Dion pulls it out, and I'm hoping that the Colorado Buffs do something exciting. So
they did something exciting last Friday.
Yeah, we got smoked.
They blew a 29-0 lead.
They did. That's the biggest
triple overtime.
That's the biggest.
That was exciting.
That's the biggest loss at halftime I think ever. I think that was a record.
The biggest blown lead.
Yeah, there was like several records that were negative.
Not records you want to have your name attached to.
Exactly. That happened to the Buffs. And Stephen A.
Smith
said that this was disgraceful. And you know what I love was that I love Deion Sanders' response. You know what he said? This is so cool. He said, "You're right. Now move on."
Yep.
I love that, right? Because like in life, we're going to have failures. We're going to have misses. One of our highs lost a queen.
That's true.
We had to replace the queen, and you know what? Okay, we did a little ceremony for her. We buried her out. I'm just kidding. The bees ate her. We couldn't even find her, but
she was there and then not there.
She was there and then she was gone. She was bee food. So I want to know, do people eat baby brood? Listen, this was awesome. Teach me bees. So eating honey, it's calming. It's got serotonin. It's got melatonin. There's 20,000 different types of bees in the world. There's 4,000 in the United States. Bee honey can be used to treat burns and is an anti-inflammatory. Remember that 75% of all the food that you consume is from pollinating and from bees. And Egyptians used honey as a natural antibiotic and skin protectant. And if you eat a spoonful of honey every day, it has calming effects on your body, and it releases, and it has serotonin and melatonin in it. So it is absolutely an incredible thing for you. So that's the real lesson from Teach Me Bees today. Those are some of the benefits to bees. This was an awesome time. I had a great morning just chatting and chatting about a whole bunch of cool stuff and bees. So, I mean, I think I might want to even change the title of the podcast to a whole bunch of cool stuff and bees.
That's right. We can rebrand. We're early on.
A whole bunch of cool stuff and bees, because that's really what this is all about. A whole bunch of cool stuff and bees. I actually like that tagline. I'm going to write it down. But if you enjoyed this, listen, we're here every week. Same bat time, same bat channel. That's right. And we're hanging out. Come join us and learn about bees.
I would also add, in the future, not in this moment, but coming up, we will be selling honey, right?
We will
That's
be selling
a part
honey.
of Honey for Hope. It's not just a cool name, with a cool like H4H, like that's kind of cool. No, one of the things we're going to be doing is selling honey, selling beeswax. We're going to be having bees in pollination.
And our logo is sick. We got to blow that logo up one of these days. But yes, that's true. So we are going to be pollinating. That's right.
For that, like pollination, something we're doing. But honey, come next summer, towards the fall, maybe, as we kind of hone in when we extract and such. Stay tuned for that. We'd love, we're playing around with maybe some kind of subscription-based honey service or something like that, or we might be involved in selling it in markets or something. We're not sure yet, but stay tuned. We're gonna sell it. It's good. And if you can get honey that is just straight from the hives, stores they sell honey, but it's not always natural.
It's not like our honey.
Yeah,
it's not straight out of the hive.
They'll add things to it. Check the labels, because honey that's just all organic and straight from the hives, all natural. The process is we took it out of the box, extracted it, and put it in a jar, and want to sell it. That's it. There's nothing extra in it, and it's so good. And
our little farm is out here in the country.
That's right.
Around many nurseries and many fields and many things, and so our honey is very pure, and that's why it tastes so good. Like you don't know where that honey came from. So if that honey came from like New York and the hives were next to a trash decomposing system, then the bees would just be hanging out there, and that's where the stuff would come from. So like at the end of the day, our bees are amazing, and our honey is fantastic. So if you like this, give us a like, give us a share, follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on Facebook, and appreciate your time. We'll be back next week, and we'll learn more about what's going on.
Talk more about bees.
And maybe we'll talk more about the Oregon Ducks, and we'll talk about I just shouldn't do that. We'll talk about the University of Washington Dogs. Maybe we'll talk about more about some steaks. I don't know. We're going to have a good time. Join us back here next week, and I'll just give a plug for the Oregon Ducks. Go Ducks.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you some love. Go
we are playing the Cougs this week, so
definitely go Ducks.
That's right.
Let's go. Right. Gosh, that'd be horrible to lose to Washington teams twice in a row.
It would. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, are you going blowout on this one?
Maybe not blowout. They always play us tough, but we should win by 3 touchdowns.
Just calmly, we should win by 3 touchdowns. Dave Vetter is a huge Wazoo fan. He's a Wazoo guy.
Oh, that sucks.
You should go bet him lunch.
I might have to take him up on that.
And then what you do is just trade.
And then I'll say,
hey, you don't have to pay out.
How about you take take Dave out for lunch and just X out the middleman?
Yeah, exactly. That way you recoup your funds. Okay, listen, this was awesome.
Thank you guys for listening.
We got to go. I hope you enjoyed podcast number 2 of Teach Me Bees.
Stay tuned for more.